Hi, this is TheHande Mäkinen. Welcome back to another Ranking the Soundtrack, and this time it's Leisure Suit Larry 6. So you might remember that I used to have way more videos in this series, and I've taken a few of them down. And to basically quickly address that, I took down the Sonic and Mega Man 3 Mega Drive soundtrack ranks because I felt they were too similar to Aqualung Game Review's soundtrack rankings to a point where I kind of felt like I was ripping him off a little bit, and I wasn't super happy with those videos anyway. Even though this series was inspired by Ken, I've always wanted to put my own twist on it, so this time we're going back to another PC adventure game. Now, just like when I ranked the soundtrack to The Secret of Monkey Island, I struggled a little bit to figure out which tracks to include, and this time around I decided I was going to be much more strict and not include any songs that play during cutscenes. This of course means that I'm leaving out the Leisure Suit Larry theme, For Your Thighs Only, which was sad considering this is my favorite rendition of it, and indeed any of the music that plays during the ending and the opening. And I've also decided to exclude this game's rendition of Ravel's Bolero, as well as the beach theme with Chablis. Yes, even though you technically do have a little bit of gameplay during these parts, they are really cutscene music. And even with these exclusions, we still have 18 tracks to rank, which I think is plenty. So let's get on with the ranking. Okay, a little technical side note here before we get to the soundtrack rank. You are going to be hearing three types of audio files here. First, direct recordings directly from the game. 2, MIDIs of the original soundtrack, downloaded from Lowe's own website, including 1 MIDI converted into an MP3 file, and 3, 1 MIDI to MP3 conversion that I did myself. Originally, I really just wanted to use the original MIDIs from the game itself, but Lowe's website only has about 10-ish tracks on there. I tried to look up on YouTube if somebody had put up the full soundtrack, but the only one that I could find was an MT32 roll-in conversion, which doesn't sound bad, but it didn't sound very consistent with the rest of the soundtrack, so I chose not to use that one. And the reason I wanted to use the MIDIs was to get clean versions of all the music so that they wouldn't have any of the game's sound effects in them. But in the end, for some of the tracks, I just had to use direct recordings from the game, and in one track, unfortunately, you are going to hear sound effects. So what I'm basically getting at here is that all the music is directly from the game, but because it is MIDI, it's obviously going to sound a little bit different based on the device you're using. The version of the game that I have obviously uses some kind of an emulated synthesizer, while my computer's own MIDI synthesizer sounds slightly different. I'm just saying this because some of you with sharp hearing are probably going to notice that there is a bit of a difference between the audio quality between tracks. Well, anyway, let's get on with the ranking. At number 18, it's the Jazz Club theme. This is the theme that plays when you enter the bar before Burgundy shows up, and frankly, it is easily the worst piece of music from the entire game. It honestly just sounds like noise, and mind you, I am playing the original soundtrack here. It's just awful, and that's why it deservedly goes to the bottom of the ranking. Number 17, Shamra's Penthouse. Now, much like Shamra herself, this song doesn't really stick in your mind, but it is much better than the Jazz Club theme at any rate, just because it's very atmospheric. It has that very Indian, oriental, spiritual feeling to it. But again, you only really hear this when you're going to Shamra's penthouse to give her some of your presents, which is one of the reasons why I don't particularly like it, but like I said, the production quality on it is actually pretty good. Number 16, the staff area, aka the beer tent. Like most of the themes in this game, this one plays only on a single screen, and this is when you sneak into the staff area to get some beer for Burgundy. It's a really nice, cheery piece of music, and it's a shame that you really don't get to listen to it for very long, because literally the only thing you do in this area is get beer. So I don't have much else to say about it. Number 15, the kitchen theme. So I really like this cheesy, pseudo-Italian vibe that the kitchen theme has. The accordion is really playful and nice, and having the taco truck there really adds to the cheesy, cartoony atmosphere of this one. However, you don't really spend a lot of time in the kitchen either, although there are at least a couple of puzzles that you have to do here. It's nice, but kind of a generic piece of music, which is the reason it lands this low in the ranking. At number 14, it's the Peeping Tom theme, which is one of the 2 themes at the security guard's office. This is basically the theme that plays when you turn the camera in the spa towards the women's shower room. It does have a nice, porny vibe to it, but frankly, I don't like it as much as number 13, the security guard theme. Now yes, if you listen very carefully, you can kind of tell that this is more or less just a ripoff of the James Bond theme, just changing a few notes, but it honestly sounds very intimidating and honestly really cool. Again, I think it's kind of a shame that this theme only plays in one location. At number 12, Cell Block Love. This is one of the 2 songs that Burgundy plays at the nightclub, and I frankly just don't really like it. Even though this one actually has lyrics and they even recorded an actual voice version of it, I kinda just find it a little bit jarring and not particularly great. However, it doesn't sound awful, and at least it is an original composition, which is the reason why I have to put it above the card room themes at any rate. But as you're about to see, I actually like Burgundy's second theme way better. At number 11, the Beauty Salon, aka Chablis theme. So this is the theme that actually plays in the beauty salon. It has a nice airy vibe to it, and I do think it's a really cute piece of music. Unfortunately, I also do think it's a little too airy and there's not a lot of backbone to it. It also gets muted when you actually talk to Chablis, which is kind of disappointing. You don't really spend a lot of time in the beauty salon anyway, really just to go talk to Chablis and to pick up a single inventory item. Which is why I decided it didn't belong into the top 10, but it's easily the best of the themes we've heard thus far. At number 10, it's Rose's theme. This is the theme that plays when you talk to Rose, and also when you just walk around her colonic cleaning clinic. It has a very stereotypical Spanish sound to it, and not a lot of kick either, but it's actually really cute sounding and very distinct, which is why I felt it deserved to go above the beauty salon theme at any rate. However, I will also admit that it's probably one of the least memorable themes because Rose is one of the first girls that you strike out with in the game. But like I said, because it has a little bit of actual character, I decided that it should go at least in the top 10. At number 9, Fat City, aka the aerobics class theme. So this theme only plays in the big gym when you interrupt Cavaricci's aerobics class. It has a nice jazzy vibe to it, and I actually really like it, but it is also a little bit repetitive, which is why it only winds up at number 9. However, it's one of the themes that has a very 80s sound to it, despite this game coming out in the mid-90s. So the song has a nice retro feel to it, but I felt that putting it any higher was asking a little bit too much. At number 8, Burgundy Blues. Like I said, this is the second theme that Burgundy plays in the club, and I feel it's way better. It has a nice clop to it, and much better chord progression, which I personally enjoy. And of the 3 themes that play in the nightclub, it's the one that I personally like the best. It is maybe a little bit on the repetitive side, just like Fat City, but definitely another theme that stands out from the soundtrack in my opinion. At number 7, it's Cavaricci's theme. This one literally only plays on a single screen when you talk to Cavaricci, which is weird because it's one of the most energetic pieces of music in the game. Honestly, it sounds like the kind of theme that would play in an 80s NES title. Also, despite the fact that Cavaricci gives me the heebie-jeebies, I do think her dialogue with Larry is really hilarious, and some of the stuff she says is just priceless. And that coupled with this theme actually makes me like it a lot more. As compositions go, it's not particularly complex, though I didn't want to put it too much higher. At number 6, it's Thunderbird's theme. This has by far the dirtiest guitar section in all of the game, and it fits really well with Thunderbird's domineering personality. As I said in my review, she's one of my favorites of Larry's pursuits in this game, and I love the slow tempo and the way that guitar really leans in. It very nearly misses out on being in the top 5, and if I'm honest, themes 5 and 6 kind of flip-flop for me on this one, but once you hear what number 5 is, I think you'll understand. At number 5, Larry's Room. Okay, so you might feel I cheated a little bit because I managed to sneak in the Larry theme For Your Thighs Only, even though I didn't include the intro theme. But yeah, I like this really chill rendition of the song, and it's honestly a little bit of a shame that the only place where you get to hear it is in Larry's room, although it does luckily play also in the bathroom. I mean, this theme is hella catchy, you should all know that by now, but it's maybe a little too laid back, which is why I decided to only have it at rank 5. I mean, it's still the Larry theme, but there are definitely better versions of it out there. Number 4, Larry Be Bad, aka the gym theme. This one has a really nice surf rock feel to it, and I especially like the guitar section in this one. It's actually a bit of a shame that it only plays on a single screen once again, and also because in-game, the gym equipment sound effects tend to kind of drown it out a little bit. But it's one of the few songs on this soundtrack that actually has a genuinely nice, fast tempo to it. And it is honestly one of the most memorable pieces of music from the game, which is why it deserves to be at number 4. At number 3, Merlot, aka the pool theme. This is just a nice, tropical piece of music. It honestly kind of reminds me of the Monkey Island games a little bit. And I love all the shenanigans that you get up to in the pool section of the game. It's just a cheery, nice piece of music, and easily one of the most recognizable from the entire game, which is why it got all the way up to number 3, but of course the two themes that always stand out in my mind are just so much more distinct, there was no way this track was going to get much higher. At number 2 is the Chardonnay theme, aka the spa theme, but to me, personally, this has always been Gary the Towel Attendant's theme. So basically, this plays in all the sections of the spa, from the entrance, the locker rooms, the shower, and then the actual spa itself. Yes, formally this is supposed to be Char's theme, but you really interact with Char so little in the game that I personally just think of this more as the spa theme. Basically, you can just hear why I like this. It's a very schmaltzy, super romantic sounding piece of music, and the melody is just really catchy and sticks with you after a while. Now, you might remember that I kinda hated Elaine's theme from The Secret of Monkey Island because it was so romantic and schmaltzy, but the difference here is that this is very airy and laid back. It sounds very nice, and it's not extremely interfering, in my opinion. One of my favorite pieces of music from any Larry game, but there's obviously one piece of music which has it beat, and that of course is the La Castellata lobby theme. I mean, it is no secret why they chose this to be the theme in the lobby, because the melody just gets stuck in your head. It just gives me a warm, cozy feeling when you go around exploring all the different parts of La Castellata. It also never really gets tiresome despite the very slow tempo. Now granted, there are definitely more energetic and powerful pieces of music in this game. The La Castellata theme is one of those themes that always reminds me that I'm playing Larry 6 and always makes me think that I'm really in for a good time. It's very much like the intro cutscene theme from The Secret of Monkey Island in that way, except here it plays in the most amount of locations. So, not the most exciting number 1 pick, I definitely get that, but my favorite piece of music from this game at any rate. So, that was my ranking for the Leisure Suit Larry 6 soundtrack. Tell me, what are your favorite pieces of music from Larry 6? Down in the comments. I'm Hunter the Hunter Mäkinen, see you on the next one.